I want to talk about childhood trauma, and I want to talk about how we identify with that trauma and take it on as our identity and become that person. The first thing I want to say today in this video is that you are not your childhood trauma. You may have gone 20, 30, 40 years or more identifying with the fact of certain traumas that happen to you and that's who you are. It's how you think. It's the lens in which you see the world, because it's something that was done to you that helped mold you in such a way that it's just who you are. But I wanted to talk to you today about, what if it's not who you are? What if I said to you, you are not your childhood trauma? That's not who you are. And you don't have to be that person. Even if you identified with it up until this moment, you don't have to be your childhood trauma. Yes, you were probably let down by adults. It was their job to protect you. It was their job to make sure that you were safe and that you knew your worth and that you knew your value. That was their job to do that. And maybe they completely let you down. I get that. I so get that. And there's so much that happens to us in our childhood, and we are powerless. We're powerless because of it. And maybe you were powerless then, but you are not powerless now. If you could really hone in on what that power is and who you are today, and even how those things have helped shape you and make you the strong person that you are. I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm not saying that any of that is justified, but I'm just saying there's nothing you can do about it now, right? There's if we spend our time thinking back about then and what happened to us and who let us down, how does that serve you for the here and now? It takes your power away. It continuously moves your power into another place with someone else who made you into a victim. You were powerless then, but you are not powerless now, my friend. You are not. You're not your childhood trauma. So who are you and who do you want to be aside from that? If we move that to the side, yes, that is there. Yes, that happened. But who are you if you don't identify by that anymore? Because you don't have to. You don't have to pick that up every day and carry that burden with you as who you are. This is what happened to me. This is who I am. This is what they did to me. This is who I am. You don't have to identify by that anymore because you are not your childhood trauma. Everybody looks at trauma in different ways. Things that happened to you as a child, it may look different in your life than it did in my life, but nonetheless, that's trauma. It's how the brain takes it in. It's trauma in your life. So although some people's stories may be worse than other people's stories, trauma is trauma. When I worked in the addiction treatment field, the one thing that I saw was that something happened in that person's childhood that led to XYZ. And so some things are more socially acceptable than others, but we all have learned to cope and move through this way of being by taking our pain and moving it into another place, whether it's healthy or not. So what if for you, if you are not your childhood trauma, you have the ability to move that pain into a place of healing? You know, one of the things that I talk about a lot is, we want light, but we don't want darkness. And we want a beautiful sunset. We want a beautiful sunrise over the ocean, but we don't want darkness. But if you just have light, you just have light. If you just have sunshine, you just have a beautiful sunny day, and that's great, and that's beautiful in and of itself. But the breathtaking views, the breathtaking sky painted comes from a dark backdrop. And so we want that, and we run outside to take pictures of that, and we are in awe, and it's breathtaking and it's wonderful, but it's light and dark contrasting. So in and of ourselves, we're taught your light is good, your dark is bad. Don't look at your dark. It's bad. It's unworthy. You should be ashamed of it. You should feel guilt and fear because of it. But what if? What if we went and met ourselves in that place with our darkness? What if our wholeness is dependent upon that light and that darkness coming together? But we're told, don't look at that thing. Don't come near that thing. Don't touch that thing. Get away from it. Deny that it's there. It's gross. It's dirty. It's bad. Move on from it. But I can tell you that I have found my healing that I was searching for when I stopped running from that darkness and invited it to sit across the table from me and invited it to have a conversation. And then when you're sitting there with it, you just kind of realize you're not as big and bad and scary as I thought you were. And in fact, I know you very well because you are me and I am you. And you're actually the part of me that's missing. You're the part of me that I've denied and given this label to as bad and something I want to run away from. But for me in my own personal journey, running away from that actually created more anxiety than ever, to the point that I was debilitated in anxiety, because it's really like you're living a lie. And in order to live a lie, you have to lie to keep the lie going, and then you have to lie on top of that lie until eventually you don't even know who you are anymore, because you've pushed all of this part out and this is all of who I want to be and I don't want any of that. But when that's still there, and I'm not talking about murdering people and I'm not going to go into all that. I'm talking about the things inside of you that you feel unworthy because of, that you feel trapped because you want to hide, and you feel like if people knew, they would disown you or discredit you. You would be seen as unlovable and unworthy. All the things that go back to childhood trauma. What taught you to hide in the first place? Why did you run from that thing? Why did you take on this persona and this new identity so that you could be accepted, whether that's in social groups or in your family life? Why is it that, or is there good behavior? And if there was good behavior, you were rewarded, which equaled love to you. If I do good things, mom loves me. If I do bad things, mom doesn't love me anymore. Maybe that's not true, but in your world that was true. That's what you took on as truth, and so you lived under that. Maybe you perform and you want people to like you, and you have a hard time saying no to things. You have a hard time setting boundaries because you're afraid that that's going to be equivalent to bad behavior, being seen as bad, unworthy, unlovable. And so you stay in this state of, I will be what you want me to be so that I can be loved. And yet at the same time, you feel further away from everything that you are, and you feel resentful for always giving. And nobody knows that you're drowning on the inside of yourself because you have denied that other side of you, that beautiful sunset that takes your breath away, the light and dark colliding. Just something to think about. What if it's not about good or bad in that aspect? What if you invited that part of you to sit down and talk instead of pushing it away and suppressing it and silencing it all the time? What if? And what if you are not your childhood trauma? Because I'm telling you, you are not your childhood trauma. It's not who you are. It's not who you are. And yes, it is something that happened, but you don't have to carry that with you for the rest of your life as who you are. You were powerless then, but you are not powerless now. So I just want to invite you today to just reflect on the pain. I think we run from our pain as if it's going to go away. It doesn't go away. It will manifest in other ways and other places in our lives and in our relationships. It will manifest itself into our body, into sickness. What if we talked to that pain? What if we sat with the darkness? What if we stopped shaming that part of ourselves and gave it an invitation to come be whole, be one with us, and be whole with us? Because you're not broken, but maybe you don't feel whole. And if you don't feel whole, I would invite you to look at the light and the dark of yourself and invite them together for the first time. And maybe start the conversation with, I am not my childhood trauma. I invite you to come sit with me and be present with me in that silence of, who am I? What do I think? What do I want? And where am I going? I think you would really feel empowered if you just got in the silence for a little bit and sat with yourself. with your light and dark contrasting, and entertain the idea that you are not your childhood trauma. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? So, I'm April Pointer. I am just starting up this camera and throwing myself on it because I have felt like for a long time I have something to say. But I've hidden myself and told myself all these different reasons of why I can't do this. And for 2 years, this has been stirring around in my heart. And so I'm not sure really what this channel is going to be about yet. I know that I am a personal empowerment advocate. I like to see people step into their power. Not that I have your answers. I don't think I have your answers. I think you have your answer. I think you are who you're looking for. And I think sometimes I have a way to help bring that out. And I'm not sure how. And I don't have 5 easy steps to being the best version of yourself. I just know that I've walked the journey myself. I've walked this journey myself. And I'm constantly wanting to get better. And I was a small little girl who played very small or pretended to be something that I wasn't so that I could belong somewhere and be loved. And it backed me into a corner so far, into a performance corner with no boundaries, that I started to have debilitating anxiety and depression and suicidal ideations. I did not realize how powerful I was because I was running away from who I am because I thought that who I am was wrong. And then once I sat in that darkness for a really long time, and it was terrifying, I was able to sit there with myself long enough to understand that I'm an okay person. I mean, I don't have it all together, nor is that the goal. I'm not perfect, nor is that the goal. Why did we think that was the goal? And it just kind of took that pressure off of me that I just could be where I was with who I am and just go from there, because we're always changing and we're always growing, right? So why would we expect that today we would have it all together? Or if we walk into awareness today, if today is the first day that you look at yourself and go, I'm not my childhood trauma, and awareness happens for the first time, or man, I get really angry when people do that thing right there. Wonder why I do that. And then you can actually thread that back to something that happened 20 years ago. Then you're going to notice it again the next time and the next time and the next time. And instead of it being their fault or that person or having this judgment attached to it, you'll start to become aware of your own thoughts, the way you've wired your own brain, the way you've created habits out of protection, the way we try to protect ourselves. And when I did that and I started waking up to that, I started rewiring my brain, and I realized this is a real thing. You can absolutely rewire your brain by thinking new thoughts and by making new choices and by telling yourself, I'm aware of that thought and I don't stand for that thought anymore, and we're not going to do that one anymore. And then saying, instead of going here, we're going to go there, and doing that every millisecond for like the first month. And it changed my life radically. I was able to become more and more okay with who I was. I kind of shut out some of the outside opinions and started thinking to myself, what are my opinions here? What do I think? Because I was the type of person that would never bring up my own opinion because it could cause conflict. But then I started sharing my own opinion and my own thoughts. And it did cause some conflict. And it was scary, and I hate it to this day. But I'm not afraid to step into it if I need to. I don't want to, nor do I enjoy that, but I will if I have to. I will not run from it anymore. That is power. It's just power. And the more you create that momentum in that power space, you realize, oh, really messed that one up. I was a little arrogant in that area. And then you fix that. You just course correct and move another direction. And that's part of the fun of life. And I feel like we live in this small little lane of, let me just stay right here in this lane. Don't look over there. Don't look over there. But what if you do? What if you do look over there? What if you explore the adventure of your life? And so maybe that's my reason of being here, is to help just kind of bring that out of you. Because again, I don't have your answer. I'm walking my own journey. But I do feel like for the past 2 years, I've had something to say, and I feel like it's just kind of been moving around inside of my own spirit. And so maybe I'll put it here, and maybe it'll bring some sort of awareness, more awareness to myself, or maybe it might help you a little bit as well. I think we all want to serve and know that we've done something beyond ourselves here in this world. And so here's my start to that. I'm sure this is going to expand and grow as I find my voice here and find what this is all about. But for today, I just wanted to share that you are not your childhood trauma and ramble a little bit just to get used to being on camera. I don't plan to do a whole bunch of edits on this. I don't plan to throw a bunch of music in the background on this because I don't know how to do all that yet. Maybe I'll get better at that in the future. But I hope you'll stick around. I hope you'll subscribe. Give it a like. It will really help this channel out to continue to create something out of what I've got to say here that maybe would help you and help those around you. And I just feel like there's a whole big world out there, and one of the things about stepping into power is it's easy for me to tell you that, but I figured it was probably about damn time I did it myself. So here I am, April Pointer, here to help bring your power out in front of you so that you can step fully into it. Like, subscribe, share, all the YouTube things. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time.